Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. My name is Angelica Grace Allen, and I am here to present the power of belief. Where you are may not be your fault, but if you choose to stay there, that is your fault. Being physically, sexually, and emotionally abused was not my fault. But choosing to remain depressed, feeling sorry for myself, not reaching my goals, and allowing my past to dictate how I live my life, that was my fault. I wasn't able to control what happened to me. I cannot, and I was not able to control the abuse that I endured. But I can control my attitude and my perception about it. And I choose to take complete control over my life. I began to watch motivational videos, write gratitude lists every single morning, exercise daily, and say daily affirmations. This led to weight loss, tripling my income, earning a college degree, and of course, confidence. That's because my transformation began from the inside out. When I was broke, I was watching motivational videos. When I was catching the bus and I didn't have a car, I would read books on self-development. When I was living with my parents, I was writing gratitude lists every single day. The first thing I changed was my attitude. When my attitude changed from diligence, studying, effort, educating myself, my perception began to change. As a result, so did my circumstances. That's because success is an inside job. It begins with what you focus on. Whether I felt like motivating myself or not. Whether I felt like getting out of bed or not. Whether I felt like exercising or not. I still did it, regardless of how I felt. That's because success, 99% of it, just showing up to class, showing up to the gym to work out, showing up to prepare a healthy meal for yourself. 99% of reaching your goals is showing up to reach them. You have to do what you don't feel like doing to get to where you want to go. The reason why I say that is because your goals don't give a damn about how you feel. Feelings are fickle. You don't want your life to be up and down like your mood. You don't want your results to be up and down like your feelings. Show up based on the best vision that you have of yourself and what you want, not your feelings. I want you all to triple your income. I want you to reach your goals. I want you all to feel confident. I did it. Now I'll show you all how to do it. And these are the topics that I will be covering today. The first topic is self-awareness. There's a story by David Foster Wallace that explains lack of self-awareness in a very humorous way. So there are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way. And while the older fish is swimming past, he says, "Hey boys, how's the water?" The young fish swim on for a little bit, and then eventually one of them looks at the other and he says, wait, what the hell is water? And the young fish are much like a lot of us who we're not really aware of what we're surrounded by. We forget what we're engulfed in. We forget about our environment. The first step to success is self-awareness. And some of you might think, well, can't the fish just swim ignorant and happy in the water without knowing they're even in water? The answer to that question is in the story's original question. How's the water? If you don't know you're in water, how can you evaluate water? How do you know if you're happy? How do you know if you're satisfied when you don't even know what you're surrounded by? I'm going to explain what self-awareness is, how to become more self-aware, and I'm also going to give you a fun and easy activity to help you become more self-aware that you can try at home on your own too. We are also going to talk about embodiment. Sometimes it can be really, really difficult to change your attitude, but it's not impossible. Now, if you shift your focus from the situation to completing an action, it can change your attitude. Embodiment is a belief that your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are influenced by your actions and your posture, how you carry yourself. We'll learn more about embodiment and power poses a little later on as well in the presentation. We're also going to talk about senses. Who here has ever walked past a Cinnabon? Anybody ever walked past a Cinnabon? Did it make you want to buy one? I know, I go to Mayfair all the time and it's so tempting. Oh, I love Cinnabons. When you smell a scent, it makes you think about what you're smelling. And it makes you enticed sometimes, especially depending on the scent. Now, senses aren't just good for survival. It's not just about, oh, you smell some rotten milk and throw it out so you don't drink and get sick. It's just not for that. It's also crucial for self-improvement. Senses are very important to use to your advantage. Now, I'm going to give you some different scents that'll enhance your mood, make you feel motivated, perk you up, and I'm also going to quiz you on a few different scents. So I don't want you to cheat and look at your phone or anything, but I will be quizzing you on that, so get ready for that. And we're going to try a few different kinds of scents that you might not have tried in this form, so get ready for that. Now, we're also going to talk about gratitude. Gratitude has the word attitude in it. That is not a coincidence. You get more of what you focus on. And Oprah said it best. When you focus on what you have, you'll always be grateful. If you focus on what you don't have, you will never have enough. Attitude is everything, and it sets the foundation for your success or your failure. I'm going to give you a fun and easy method for expressing gratitude that'll change your attitude instantly. Self-awareness is seeing yourself for who you truly are through the eyes of your friends, your enemies, and your dog. Who here has a dog or a pet? Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, when we don't observe what's around us, we miss a lot of important details. Even with all that we can see, we can still miss the things that appear right before our face. But by being mindful, which is basically just paying attention to your surroundings and making sure you understand what's going on around you, it can really help us determine the mistakes we make that are detrimental to our success. But most of us are not self-aware, and unfortunately, we don't see the answers that were there the entire time before we even had to ask the question. Who has ever heard of the experiment Gorillas in Our Midst? Anyone? Okay, so some of you are familiar with it. For those of you who aren't familiar with that experiment, basically with this experiment, it's a psychological experiment. And there's a team of people, for example, in black shirts. And then there's another team in white shirts. And the black shirts, they are supposed to count the number of times that the ball is passed to their team member. And same thing with the white shirts, and they're all in a circle. And while they're performing this task, somebody in a gorilla suit comes in the middle of the circle, and he pounds his chest and walks away. The crazy part is, half of them didn't even notice the gorilla. So what does that say about us? How do we not notice something that's right in front of our face? This is called inattentional blindness. Basically, we only perceive and remember the details that receive our undivided attention. Think about what that says about your everyday life. If you focus on defeats, obstacles, disappointments, you might miss the overall importance of those events. What's the significance of it? What can you learn from it? There is so much that we don't see. Just like the group of students didn't notice the gorilla, sometimes we don't notice the things that are right in front of our face that can help us become successful. We just don't notice it, and it's not that it's not there, it's that we're not paying attention. You can definitely appreciate and be aware of the great things about your life. And you can acknowledge what needs to change. This is the only way to be self-aware. But some of us are so comfortable being unhappy and unfulfilled and lacking what we need and what we want that we would rather be miserable than reach our goals. Why do I say that? Well, I'm going to let the experiment by Paul Gilbert and Sue Proctor explain that. So basically, these are two mental health researchers, and they did a study on compassionate mind training. And what they did was they completed a study on self-criticism on patients who had mental health disorders. The patients were adults with personality disorders and mood disorders, and they were given 12 two-hour sessions in compassionate mind training. And the results showed a significant decrease in anxiety and self-criticism. The sad part about this experiment was that these people's brains, and just like most people who have been abused, they anticipated distrust, anxiety, negativity, just like they expected the sun to rise every morning. So basically, feeling loved, feeling appreciated, feeling good, it was like poison to them. It didn't feel right. It's kind of like, say your whole life you've been buying Fruity Hoops and eating them for breakfast. And then in your 20s, now that your taste buds have formed and you're so used to it, you buy Fruit Loops, the good stuff. When you first eat it, you're going to be like, what is this? It tastes weird. I don't know if I like this. Even though it's better, it's not necessarily good because it's so foreign to you. It's so different. So basically what I'm trying to say is just because something is good and comes into your life doesn't mean you're going to want it. That explains a lot about self-sabotage. That's why a lot of people self-sabotage, because it's uncomfortable. Not because they don't want it, but because it's foreign. It's uncomfortable for them. And another thing that really shook me about this study was that some people self-harass. They bully themselves and they don't even notice. The study shows, and this is why self-awareness is so important. The study shows that we respond to internal threats. You're no good, you're not going to accomplish anything, you're ugly. All those hurtful sentiments we say to ourselves, our brain thinks somebody else is saying it to us. So imagine if 100 people a day came to you and said, you're not going to reach any goals of yours. That's stupid. You might as well just crawl in a bed and sleep all day. Well, what would common sense tell you? If everybody's telling you that, what would common sense tell you? Can anybody tell me? Exactly. It must be true, right? If 100 people are saying this to me a day, they can all be wrong, but you're saying it to yourself and your brain doesn't even know it. That explains self-fulfilling prophecy, why we act based on our beliefs. Your brain thinks that people are telling you this and that it's absolutely true. Can't deny real evidence, right? So that's why it's so important to be self-aware and know that your thoughts are there. Because if you don't know they're there, you can't replace them with better thoughts. So one thing that the study explained, how to become more aware, how to fight those demons, is by mindful acceptance. Mindful acceptance is acceptance of painful thoughts and feelings, but not identifying with them. So what that means is, if a thought pops in your head, you're not going to reach that goal. Just know that it's there. You don't have to egg it on. You don't have to dwell on it. Don't believe everything you think. Just because it's a thought doesn't mean you should actually believe it. So basically, it's kind of like a glare in the window. Just because it pops up doesn't mean you have to look at it, close the blinds. It's that simple. So that's the first step to becoming more self-aware. Any questions so far? Anybody? No? Okay.
Are you going to make
I just want to hear the question better.
Sure. Are you going to make all of this available in some written form for us?
Absolutely, yes.
Because it's a lot.
Yeah, I can provide you with the paper form. And does anyone have emails here?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Please, if you have any business cards, please hand them to me. And also, too, if you just want me to write it down and send it to an email, I can do that as well. And I can even mail it to you in paper form. That's fine, too. Okay. Any more questions? No? Okay. Now, I understand the process of tracking your thoughts and being more aware it's a lot easier said than done. But it's not impossible, though. According to the National Science Foundation, we have over 50,000 thoughts a day. I'm not asking you to keep track of 50,000 thoughts. That's exhausting. What I am asking you to do is to stop being the backseat driver of your own mind and take control of the wheel. So one way to become more self-aware is by meditating. Who here has meditated before? Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. So I want us all to just meditate for a few minutes and just relax. Now what I'm going to do is I want you guys to practice mindful acceptance while you're meditating. So what that means is I want you all, when a thought pops in your head, random thought, neutral, negative, positive, I want you to say inside your mind, don't say it out loud and disturb everybody else, but inside your mind say thank you.